Comparison is a thief. And I don't mean metaphorically, I'm talking physiologically. You cannot feel joy and comparison in your body at the same time. It's like I told you about faith and fear. Physically can't. It is the same wiring as the faith and fear, two opposite states fighting for the same nervous system, and only one of them gets to run the show in any given moment. The second you start measuring your life against someone else's highlight reel, the joy that you were just standing in is going to evaporate. It evaporates, and it's not because the joy is fake. It's because comparison is a physiological state that cannot coexist with it. And before you think that I am up here pretending I'm above it, okay, let's just squash that shit right now. I compare myself to every great fucking podcast and every great fucking podcast coach out there. Every single one. Some days it wins. Some days I am sitting there scrolling someone else's numbers, feeling like I'm behind in a race that I didn't even fucking agree to run. Most days it does not win. And that's the entire point of this episode. Not that you stop comparing forever, because I don't even think that's realistic. Like, we're humans. I don't think it's realistic for any human being with a working nervous system to just stop comparing. The point is, you keep going anyway. Like, you get the fuck over yourself and you keep going anyway. Welcome to Listen Bitch Podcast. I am Branden Lynette. I am the Voice Authority Podcast Coach. Your mess is your message. BrandenLynette.com/quiz. Let's talk about your podcast potential. And your potential is your purpose. Again, it's time to get over yourself and start building it. I want to talk about comparison today because I think most of the content out there about it is truly dishonest. It tells you to just stop comparing yourself to others, like that's just a switch you can flip. Last time I checked, it's not really a switch to flip. It's a daily fight. I know because I fight it. Every person I've ever coached fights it. Every person who has ever built shit worth building has had to fight it, and they kept building anyway. So today's not about achieving some enlightened state, okay? We don't do the wool bullshit here. There is no place where comparison never touches you again. Today's really about what to do when it shows up, because it's going to keep showing up. And before we go in, you guys know that Super Patch. Today's show is brought to you by Super Patch. What are the odds that it's going to be joy? Because joy and comparison cannot coexist in your body. And I want you to physically experience what it feels like to access joy on purpose instead of waiting for the comparison to shut the fuck up. Okay. Joy supports natural happiness and optimism. It is just your body remembering what the other state feels like. All of these are drug free. They are made in the USA. They are vibrotactile technology working through your nervous system. It is like Braille for your brain. I've always got this in the show notes, but joy is another patch I vibe with every single day. Okay. But you guys, I think a lot of people assume that someone with a platform or, a brand has somehow graduated past all of this bullshit that I talk about on the show, especially comparison. Like, you think this is a beginner level problem you outgrow once you build some shit, and that's not true. I'm not going to let anybody lie to you, or I'm not going to pretend it is. I scroll. I see the podcast coach with the big numbers and the slicker production. Okay. I see the brand deals that I didn't get, the launch that looked effortless from the outside. I see the woman in my industry who seems to be everywhere at once on every stage. She is in every fucking feed. Doesn't matter where I go, there she is. And something in my chest tightens before my brain even finishes processing what I'm looking at. It does that. Just click, and that tightening is comparison. It doesn't ask me permission. It's not like, hey, I just want to check and see whether you're secure enough in the day to really handle what I'm going to throw at you. It just shows up the way the weather shows up, and I have to decide like what the fuck I'm going to do with it when it does arrive. Some days I lose that round, and some days the scroll wins and I close the app feeling smaller than when I opened it, and I have to do the work of getting back to center before I can record shit. Most of the days, you guys, okay, I don't lose. Most days, after all this practice, I catch it fast. I call it out. I call it the bullshit that it is, and I keep doing my shit anyway. And the difference between the days I lose and the days I don't is not that comparison stopped showing up. It's that I stopped expecting it to stop showing up, and I started focusing on what I need to do the moment it arrives. I always feel better when I fall into that little rut to go create something, to just do the thing. I don't want you to think like you're just fucked up and broken and insecure and all these pity party things because you compare yourself to other people. You're human. The question was never whether comparison's going to show up. The question is what you do the next time it does. and your brain runs something called social comparison theory. Okay, so it's your brain doing this. It's not a personal flaw. It's wiring that has been with humans since we lived in tribes where knowing your relative status mattered for survival. The brain is built to constantly evaluate where you stand relative to the people around you. This isn't modern, it's ancient. Social media just gave the ancient wiring an infinite 24-hour algorithm optimized with a feed of people to compare yourself against, which is a problem the human brain, like it was never designed to handle this. And this is what happens physiologically when comparison fires. The brain registers the comparison as a status threat, even when nobody's actually threatening you, even when the person you're comparing yourself to has no idea you even fucking exist. Your nervous system responds as if your position in the tribe is being challenged. So your cortisol spikes, the body shifts towards a mild, but it's a very real stress response. Your chest gets tight, your stomach drops, my throat does some little thing, okay? The same physiological signature as actual danger. It's fired off by just, for me, the trigger is a picture on my screen. And this is what matters most. Joy and gratitude operate through the parasympathetic nervous system. That's the rest and connect state. Comparison and the status threat response operate through the sympathetic nervous system, which is like your fight and flight state. These two states cannot be dominant in your body at the same time. The body has to choose. When comparison fires, joy gets physiologically shut out, not because you decide to stop feeling grateful, but because your nervous system literally cannot run both programs simultaneously. This is why the moment you start comparing, the joy you were just in is gone. And it's gone so fast that you think it wasn't even real, but it was. It's just physiologically, it got displaced by a different state that your brain prioritized because it read the comparison as more urgent than the joy. And neuroplasticity is your way out, babe. Not, I'm telling you, it's not a win by expecting to never have the comparison fire again. That's not what happens here. That's not the ticket out. The way out is to build the speed and strength of your return pathway. And that's just the pathway back to joy after comparison fires. So it's every single time you catch a comparison, you call it out. This is bullshit. You're comparing yourself to someone you have no idea where they're at, where they came from, what they've done to get there. And then you have to deliberately choose the gratitude. Like, thank you, God, that I still am doing great on the shows. I'm still touching lives. I'm doing the things I'm creating. Have the gratitude or the presence or the next right action instead of staying in the spiral. And when you do that, you strengthen that return pathway. You're not eliminating the trigger, no such thing, but you are shortening the recovery time, which I think is vital. The goal was it's never going to be zero comparison. Okay. The goal is just like a faster bounce back. Like, let's get the fuck up. Yes, it knocks the wind out of me. How can I get back up? Imagine standing at the edge of the ocean, right? The waves are going to come. That is what oceans do. You do not get angry at the ocean for having waves. You do not interpret a wave hitting you as evidence that you chose the wrong beach or that something is fundamentally fucked up about your relationship with water. What you do is you learn the rhythm. You learn to see the wave coming, you brace, you let it pass through you. And then you reset your footing before the next one arrives. The people who've spent the most time at that ocean are not the people who stopped getting hit by waves. They're the people who got fast and skilled at returning to standing after everyone passed through. Comparison is just that. It's just a wave. It's going to come. Scrolling is going to put you in the water whether you want to or not. The goal was never building a life without waves. That life does not exist for fucking anyone, including the people whose highlight reel you're currently comparing yourself to. Because I promise you, they are standing in the same fucking ocean getting hit by their own waves about someone else. It's happening. The skill, what we're going to learn is that return. Get hit, feel it, reset your footing, keep standing in the water because the water is where shit's happening. That's it. And yes, there is a very specific scroll that knocked me sideways longer than I'm really proud to admit, okay? I'm building this show in a season where the growth is just feeling slow and the comparison is so loud, and I see this podcast coach in my space. I see everything that's happening. I see the engagement. I see the interactions. And then I see them land a partnership that I genuinely had sent a letter for. Okay. Genuinely wanted it. And I thought about reaching out for it and to continue asking for it, and I talk myself out of it because I'm not her, and if this is who they're going to lock arms with here, I'm not there. And there she is doing the thing that I talked myself out of trying. I did not handle that gracefully in the moment. Absolutely not. I sat with it longer than I needed to, and I let the big scary story in my brain build. She is further along. She is better positioned. She has editors. She has social media workers. I don't know what you call it. Okay. She has everything. She has connections I don't have. So I built this whole entire narrative in about 4 minutes of scrolling, and it took me so much longer than 4 minutes to walk back from it. In fact, I still, this is the genuine truth, I will still, when I am scrolling, I still see her come across my feed, and I pause and I'm like, it stings. It's like a stinger. It stings. What eventually got me out of this, it wasn't some bullshit mantra. It wasn't a quick fix. It's really getting honest about what the comparison was telling me. And it's not that it was telling me it was behind. It's telling me that there's something I want and I haven't gone after yet because I was waiting, because I've been waiting. I've been waiting. I've been waiting. So I haven't given up. I'm still reaching out for partnerships, okay? And it matters. It matters that I keep doing the work and that I keep showing up. Comparison is not wrong about the desire, it's wrong about what to do with the desire. Everything in me was going to let that picture, that success, everything I wanted, I was about to let that become the evidence that I should give up instead of fuel for the next move. And that is usually what comparison is actually pointing at if you're honest enough to look, okay? It's not your inadequacy. It's your unacted desire. It's that thing that we really want. And I had to sit with myself because, yes, do I burn shit down really fast? Yes. Is there a part of me that has gone through so many rebuilds in my life that I still question everything? Like, is this really it for me? Is this what I'm going to do? Are you sure, Branden? Because what the fuck? How many times are you going to launch and relaunch a new business? And I think this hurt more than anything that I've ever seen actually hurt me in such a way. I said, what is the message here? When I see that, what is the message here? And it is that core desire that I want that. I want that reach. I want the engagement. I want that stuff. I want the big brand partnership. So that feeling to me now is that message of like, you, that's a desire. It's a desire and it's okay. It's okay. What's the next step to get there? It was a great message for like, this is what I want. This is what I'm passionate about. And this is what I'm putting forward. I one of the ladies on my interview shows, she even talked about comparison being the thing that almost stopped her from ever launching her podcast at all. Um, she wrote down, this is something I've never done actually, and I think this was very commendable. She had a whole list of every podcast in her niche that was already successful. So she was studying them. Um, and it wasn't for inspiration, it was for evidence that the space was too crowded, right? She's looking at this, she's like, no, it's too competitive, too saturated. And people will say that. My husband still says that to me. He's like, podcasts are just everywhere. And I'm like, yeah, well, so are coffee shops, so are pizza places, so are mechanics, so is fucking everything. Dollar store, what's the yellow dollar store? Are you kidding me? They're like every 3 steps away and they all seem to be doing just fine. So the evidence is bullshit. But she said that nothing really shifted for her until she realized she spent more hours researching other people's shit than she ever had spent recording her own. Comparison wasn't only stealing her joy, it was taking her actual output. She wasn't creating hours that could have gone into building. She's just measuring herself against people who were never going to know she existed. So she made a rule for herself, research for the 20 minutes and build for the rest of the day. That way we're not, you don't have to eliminate the comparison completely, because it's just not realistic. Just cap it, you know cap it. And yeah, she's in my inbox the other day. We're doing a project on Substack, and she said she still deals with the comparison. but she launched and she feels great. It's just that it's not stopping her creativity anymore. How much of your actual output has comparison stolen from you? Not even talking about your joy, I'm just talking about hours, your actual building time. I know what happens. If comparison has been costing you more than you have ever wanted to admit, do me a favor and send this episode out to one person who needs to hear that they're not the only one fighting this. They're not behind you guys. We're just in the ocean getting hit like waves, all of us right there. Cain and Abel both brought offerings to God. Abel's Abel's offering was accepted. Cain's was not. I had to rethink for a second. And the Bible says Cain was very angry and his face was downcast. Okay. And God speaks directly to him in that moment and asks why he's angry, why his face has fallen. And he tells him something about, I think about constantly. If you do what is right, will you not be accepted? But if you do not, sin is crouching at your door. It desires to have you, but you must rule over it. So Cain's comparison to Abel was not the sin. The comparison was the wave. What he did next was the choice. He had a real opportunity right there to feel the comparison, to let it pass through, and to reset his footing. God gave him the exact instruction: rule over it. We know the story. He did not rule over it. He let the comparison metastasize into something that it didn't have to become. The wave hit him, and instead of resetting his footing, he let it pull him under, and the story ends in a tragedy. Now, I'm not telling you this to be dramatic, okay? I'm not trying to kill my nemesis on social media, okay? She's like obviously a podcast freaking queen. So I'm not trying to be dramatic about a feeling of envy when you scroll. I am telling you this because the pattern is exactly the same pattern, just scaled down. The comparison shows up. It is not the sin. What you do with it, it is the choice. You can rule over it, reset, and keep building, or you can let it grow into something that costs you more than the original feeling ever would have. You must rule over it. That is the instructions that God even gave the first person who ever felt that jealousy, like how we feel when we scroll. And ruling over this doesn't look like never feeling that tightening. Okay? When someone else wins, we might feel that pain of what we could have. It looks like noticing the tightening immediately and just calling it out. Not comparison, just refuse to let it sit there building a big, bad, ugly story without your permission. We want to ask the comparison what it's pointing out. What is the lesson here? What do I need to learn from this? What is this trying to teach me? And most of the time, it's not telling you that you're behind. It's telling you about a desire that you haven't acted on. So get curious about the desire instead of marinating in inadequacy. It also looks like, obviously, cutting off the time you let it consume you. Do it. Research for 20 minutes like my friend and build for the rest of the day, right? Comparison does not get unlimited access to your hours just because it shows up. Like, fuck that guy. Remember that the highlight reel you're comparing yourself to is exactly that. It's a bullshit curated highlight reel. And the person you're envying is standing in the same ocean you are, getting hit by their own waves about someone further along than them. Nobody gets out of the arena. Nobody skips the ass kicking. Not me, not the person with the bigger numbers, none of us. Get back to building immediately after. Don't wait until the feeling is all resolved and you've distracted enough to numb it and forget about it. Reset your footing, stand in the water, because the water's where we're building the shit that happens. And the building part of this is the only thing that's actually going to propel you forward. Today, name the next time comparison fires before it has a chance to build the story, and do it out loud. This is comparison, not this is the truth about my situation. Just this is fucking comparison. Just naming the state for what it is interrupts this automatic brain spiral we have to where we continue to create the story and we build the narrative that doesn't exist. This week, ask the comparison what it's actually pointing at. The next time you feel that tightening, instead of saying, don't stay in the inadequacy, just ask yourself, what desire is underneath this? What do I actually want that I haven't gone after? And write the answer down, because that's usually more useful than comparison's ever going to be. And please, you guys, just honestly, what's the deal? Stop scrolling. Stop scrolling deliberately. Decide in advance how much time research or comparison gets and protect the rest of your fucking day. Save those hours for building. Comparison should never get to set your schedule. Better today than yesterday, better tomorrow than today. That's our job. I know I'm telling you guys I'm in the arena. And this wasn't going to be a good podcast if I'm just going to tell you to stop comparing yourself to other people. Like that's something a normal human fucking nervous system can actually command. I'm trying to be honest with you. I compare myself to every great fucking podcast and every great fucking podcast coach out there, okay? I lose some days. I lose some days, y'all. I get hit by the wave and it knocks me sideways and I kind of stay in the water for a while till I just can't breathe and then I come back up. Most days I don't lose. Obviously, most days. If you look at my track record of how I show up and how I'm creating, most days, no. Because I get faster at resetting my footing and getting back to the building, and that's the skill. So it's never going to be the absence of the waves. There's always going to be someone out there better, bigger, blah, blah, blah. Always. And if that's what we're looking for, we're going to constantly see that and we'll continue to bury ourselves in that. But if I can step back those days that I win and I could just think, why not me? Why not me? What can I build? This is who I want to be. It speeds it up. You are going to keep comparing yourself to people. That's just fucking human. That's your nervous system doing what nervous systems do. The question that really fucking matters is whether you let the wave pull you under or whether you reset your footing and keep building the shit you're supposed to build. We made a deal with God when we chose the human experience. We knew comparison would be part of the human experience. We also knew we could kick its ass the way Cain was told to rule over it. We knew we could do that. The way every person who's ever built something real has ever had to rule over it on their hard days. So the bottom line is get the fuck over yourself and keep fucking going. And you guys know that is all the love in the world I have to give to you because that's the fucking instructions. There is no way to judge that up. There's no way to put in a bunch of filler, fluffy, feel good bullshit. That's it, because that is what gets you to the other side of every single wave that's going to hit you. I would love for you to come work with me. Make sure you check out that quiz, okay? BrandenLynette.com/quiz. It's fucking awesome. I'm pretty proud of that, y'all. I'm pretty proud of it. Make sure you check the show notes. Tell me what the comparison has been pointing at for you. Tell me what desire you've not acted on yet because you were too busy measuring yourself against someone else's bullshit curated highlight reel, okay? Better today than yesterday, better tomorrow than today. That's our whole assignment. I love you guys.